Live with CDP, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor FM. Now here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP Sports Talk, Season 5, Episode 6, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet, 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210 and tell them CDP, aka Chris Palme, sent you there as well. And also, guys, you can also pre-orders are available for the all-electric Silverado, as well as the all-electric Cadillac Lyriq again. And again, check out barrycullen.com or give them a pop by at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to my 226th episode of Live with CDP podcast tonight. I am looking forward to my guest. His name is Adam Gosse. He is the public address announcer for the Grey Cup champion, Toronto Argonauts at BMO Field. And this past season was the University of Guelph Gryphons football team public address announcer at Alumni Stadium. And I'm looking forward to speaking to Adam about the 2022 CFL season, the Argonauts obviously winning the Grey Cup, and also the CFL schedule being released yesterday. And myself and some others on social media have had our opinions on that. So bear with me, and I'm going to bring on Adam Gosse from the Toronto Argonauts. Good evening, Adam. How are you?
Well, Chris, let me tell you.
Nice.
That's how I'm doing, brother.
That's great. And I was going to say, this was only the second Grey Cup win with that boat logo. As much as it's my favorite logo out of all of them, that's only the second time they've won a Grey Cup with that logo as well, by the way.
1983.
Yeah, 83, and that was a special year because I was only 11 at the time, and my father, who before he passed away a couple years later, was able to watch that game with me, and at least he got to see the Argos win a Grey Cup. And it was a big deal because it was a 31-year drought, and it was a nail-biter, 18-17. And sure enough, 39 years later, a 1-point win. But this time it was different with the 2 blocked field goals at the end of a game. Have you ever, Adam, seen a championship game end on 2 blocked field goals like that?
A championship game, no. Back in my own playing days, many moons ago, a player from the city of Pickering by the name of Sean Quinn he was a defensive back, blocked 2 kicks in a row to win a game in Oakville or Burlington. But no, never in a championship game. That's remarkable.
Also, we'll get to questions now. Basically, what were your thoughts on this 2022 Toronto Argonauts season and then their playoffs to the 18th Grey Cup championship?
I've been doing a lot of thinking on that. My love for this team started in 1991, so I don't know what it's like to watch them lose a championship. Many of us were talking during the Grey Cup Festival, and some of us, including myself, were trying to make peace with the fact that eventually all streaks come to an end. Yeah. We were trying to give ourselves some grace and say, maybe this one is the day they finally break our hearts and lose a championship. No, that hasn't happened yet. So then you start to look at all the collective wins, 91, 96, 97, 04, 2012, 2017. And this one may have been the most unpredictable, I guess. The 91 team was Hollywood from top to bottom. 96 and 97, the Flutie years, those teams were juggernauts. 04 had Hall of Famer Damon Allen. 2012, 2017 had Ricky Ray. Mark Trussman and Chris Milanovic. And then you've got this team, an unproven head coach and Ryan Dinwiddie, a reluctant star in McLeod Bethel Thompson, very polarizing individual in amongst the Argo fan base. This to me was probably the most surprising of them all that I've been involved with or as a fan. And I guess in a way that makes it a little more special. And they beat a very powerful team, a back-to-back champion team in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So yeah, it was really special. Kind of came a little bit out of nowhere. I mean, you always believe in your team, but they were just on a crescendo right to the end. They just got better and better and better right to the finish line, and really that's what you want.
Back in the 80s, this team sort of reminds me of the team of the early 80s, because when they hired Bobo Bilovich, he was he's never been a head coach, I don't believe, before. Brought in Mouse Davis, brought in Conrad Holloway, and they built the program up, and then they won in '83. So I saw some similarities to this team from 40 years ago with the coaching staff and just this team, because the '82 Argonauts, I don't think were even supposed to get to the Grey Cup, even though it was in Toronto at that time. And you know what? To be honest, if that weather wasn't a factor back then, I know for a fact they could have beat the Eskimos or the Elks back then, but that weather was horrible back then. But I was going to say, we've been spoiled as Argonaut fans in the last 39 years, 8 Grey Cups. Hamilton Tiger Cats, since I've been alive, in 50 years, 3 Grey Cups in 50 years. So we're very spoiled as Argonaut fans, and I'm just hoping this translates into more fans at BMO Field next year.
I couldn't agree more. Winning usually solves a lot of problems. The Argonauts have a lot of work to do. This is the CFL. It's no surprise that there's a lot of player movement in the offseason. It's hard to keep players under contract for long-term deals. So, fans need to be prepared. There's going to be some turnover with this team in some pretty significant positions. So, I don't envy Inball and his staff for putting together yet another championship caliber team. Do I have faith that he can do it? Absolutely. The man has never lost a championship. But it's going to be interesting to watch them work. From a fan perspective, yeah, I mean, having sustained success at Argo home games year after year has been a struggle. They've won championships and typically followed them up with very satisfactory seasons. So, if they do put together some winning teams, and not necessarily Grey Cup championship winning teams, although that would be nice, that could help grow this fan base.
What was it like being the public address announcer for that East final, where the stadium, I think, was about 75-80% full, and it was loud. It was as loud as a Argo game I've heard in many years in Toronto.
Yeah, it was one of those games that gets the hair on your arm sticking up. And there was close to 22,000 in the building last year when we hosted the Ticats. But the Ticats brought between 6,000 and 7,000 of their own fans. This year's Eastern Final saw an attendance of north of 21,000 without Hamilton in the building. So kudos to Argo fans, and obviously there's a small percentage of that came from Montreal, and we thank them too. But kudos to Argo fans by and large for stepping up and getting behind this team. Sometimes there's something to be said for a bit of an underdog, and there's a lot of talk about how the East Division was the least division this year, and it was just whoever put together at least a mediocre season would have a chance to go to the Grey Cup. No one gave this Argonaut team a chance to win the big dance. So I think that little bit of underdogness was attractive to a lot of people. I know it was to me.
Absolutely. And it's funny, is exactly 1 year ago today I had you on my podcast show. What are the odds of that, eh? And I didn't look at it. We booked it for the 14th, and then I looked at my YouTube channel and my shows from the past year, and you came up on December 14th, 2021.
Well, happy anniversary to us.
So we'll have to try to do it again next year on December 14th, 2022 or
Let's
2023.
let's book it. We'll recap a 19th Grey Cup championship win. How about that?
And that's my favorite number. That would be real sweet, number 19. And yeah, one more Grey Cup would be nice. I'd like to see number 19 next year, hopefully.
What makes 19 your favorite number?
Steve Yzerman, Detroit Red Wings.
Oh,
Even before even before he became a Red Wing, I was a fan of him with the Peterbilt Pete. So 19 has always been my favorite number, and Curly Gittens Jr. is my favorite Argonaut player.
Well, let's hope he's joining us for the 19th championship. He's one of those players that has every right to seek top dollar in the offseason this year. Would love to see him back in double blue. I think we can all agree he was our best receiver this season, and he's a lot of fun to watch, and he's only going to get better.
Absolutely. And I had one of your coaches on a couple weeks ago, Pete Costanza, and he even said what kind of a work ethic Gittens Jr. has, and he's willing to learn, work hard, and keep improving daily in practices.
Yeah, that helps. I mean, this league these guys are professional athletes, and Curly's known for working hard, and his results are paying off quite quickly. If you would have told me before this season that he was going to be our best receiver, I don't know that I would have believed you. But you can see how fast his ascent has been. It's great to watch.
Absolutely. Now, Adam, I got to ask you this. What point of the season did you think that this team could be a possible Grey Cup champion or get to the Grey Cup? I really didn't think that until maybe, I don't know, a couple weeks before the regular season ended.
Listen to Jagarad Davis and you won't go wrong. So it was early in the season. It was the first third of the season, and the Argos were coming off a game in which Jagarad Davis finally kind of emerged as the star we all wanted him to be. I can't remember which game, but he was quoted in the post game comments as, and I'm paraphrasing, so bear with me, Chris. He said something to the angle of, we're not playing our best right now, but we don't need to. We're working harder every day. We're getting better every day, and we're going to be at our best when it matters the most. And, pro athletes are prone to give us company lines. They're very by the book and very professional, sometimes watered down answers. We all want them to tell the truth. I thought that was a little startling to say, we're not playing our best, but we don't need to today. We need to be playing our best, in November. And that stuck with me. And this is a guy who's been to the past 2-3 Grey Cup championships. So I thought, okay, well, if he believes it, then why shouldn't I? And he was absolutely right. They were arguably the hottest team in October, and they just never slowed down. They had injuries. They led the league in man games lost, and it was just next man up. Whoever was second on the depth chart, third on the depth chart, there were playmakers all over the place. Kudos to this coaching staff for just getting the results with, without having their starting lineup day in and day out. So yeah, I mean, it would have been that day when I heard Davis say that. But you saw it unfold when the leaves started to turn brown and the sun went away and the team just got better. They were obviously their best when they needed to be in the Grey Cup championship.
And you also got to mention Pinball Clements and the Argonaut management staff, because when they took over in 2019, the team was struggling at that point, and I think they turned over the roster around 90% of the roster, and then they brought in Ryan Dinwiddie and all that, and then the pandemic. But Pinball Clements has got to be given a lot of credit. The entire Argonaut management staff for bringing in the right players, getting guys that are good fits. Because sometimes, Adam, you know this in football or sports, you can bring in a guy who's as talented as anyone, but he's not a good fit in a locker room or doesn't have chemistry. And there looked like there was good chemistry on this team.
Very, very well said. Chemistry matters. Chemistry helps win championships. You don't win often with a team full of prima donnas. How many people had eyebrows raised when the team signed Ryan Dinwiddie to be their head coach? He wasn't on the short list of popular candidates in the media, and in fact, he might have been fourth or fifth, if I'm remembering at the time. I was a little surprised, but look at us now. He obviously knows how to get the most out of his players. Pinball knew that, and they knew how to surround, players like McLeod, Bethel, Thompson with character people at key positions. It's great to see. This team looked like they had fun. Even when they were losing, you would watch practices and they were loose. They put their hard hats on and their work boots on when they had to.
Absolutely. And like I said, I was just very pleased with this team. And Adam, I went to more Argo games this year than in a long time. Obviously, I went to the Guelph game, but I went to 4 at BMO Field. And this year, I ended up dealing with Argent and ended up getting my season ticket for next year. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sick. I just got a dry throat.
Now,
anyways.
I believe you have some news of your own to share regarding Argo tickets.
Yeah, I'm now a season ticket holder member. So I'm section 115, row 10, seat 2. I wanted seat 1, but I said seat 2. I want to be able to get Boris Beatty's extra points and field goal balls next year in the stands. I really like that. And I love sitting in the end zone seats.
You might have to grow a few inches because he booms them pretty high.
I'll jump. I can jump up. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. Since we're talking about season tickets, obviously the CFL schedule came out yesterday, and I've kind of, there's a few dates I've kind of not sure about, but I've heard some positive feedback, but a lot of negativity. Can I get your opinion, Adam, on the 2023 CFL schedule and the Argonaut schedule?
Okay. Well, I'll start with the Argonauts because that's near and dear to my heart. Now, I can very easily compartmentalize this. I can separate Adam Gosse's feelings from what I think is good for the fan base in general. Personally, I'm a little selfish. I like Saturday games at 4:00. It's decent for families. It's not too late in the evening, and for adults, at least it allows some time after a game to go out for a bite to eat and enjoy themselves. And for the tailgate crew, it gives you a few hours to enjoy the tailgate as well. Obviously, having a consistent schedule in the CFL is not viable. There's no team in this league that's going to get the ad day they want just due to the TV schedule. So my personal thoughts are really irrelevant. Is it good for the fan base? I think so. I'll tell you this much about the league. And there's a lot of talk about whether it's a great schedule or it's a terrible schedule. The league is listening. And I saw a lot of chatter on social media about having a healthy amount of Sunday games before Labor Day weekend or up until Labor Day weekend. Why can't we compete on Sundays? And the NFL took note, or so the CFL took notice. And I think regardless of whether we get into the goods and the bads, the league is listening. We've seen a lot of different variations of the schedule unfold over the years, based on what the league thinks is best for our fans. So find me the perfect schedule. If you do, you're gonna upset somebody. The league is listening. They're going to try this out. Obviously, there's an issue of revenue up for discussion. The league sees this as having a larger revenue stream. Having these Sunday games in primetime slots allows more viewers. It's more attractive to an American TV network. So, and that trickles down. The three biggest sources of revenue on any team in this league should be ticket sales, corporate sponsorship, and revenue from the league. So more revenue for the league obviously is better for all the teams in the league. That's a basic answer. It's going to polarize the fan base. I can't remember a schedule drop that hasn't polarized the fan base. You've got people on both sides, for it, against it. I'm curious to see how it plays out because we haven't gone head to head on Sundays with the NFL in quite some time. If you're a CFL fan, You're a CFL fan, so let's go. As far as, geographically and whether or not it's better as a fan to go to a game, there's going to be some challenges everywhere. This is also going to work out better for some people. We talk about the cottage crowd in certain markets being able to get back and see a game on a Sunday evening. I get that. The riders take issue because they're going to miss those Fridays and Saturday time slots because people do travel across the province to go to rider games. I understand that. There's going to be challenges no matter what you do. Until every team gets exactly what they want, we're just going to have to pull together and make do.
And the good news is there's only 2 Sunday night games at 7 o'clock. So I guess you're right. There are positives to it and there are negatives, but I'm going to try to get to every game this year. But at least with having a season ticket, I'll be able to donate it to a charity or put it on the ticket market. But the 2 Sunday, you know what? You're right, Adam. It's not going to hurt them to try this and stuff like that. I was hoping the Sunday games would be at 4 o'clock, but for TV ratings, 7 o'clock would probably be better to get more ratings for the CFL.
Yeah. It's funny. I hear a lot of, some of the criticism or the arguments from non-CFL fans will say things like, well, I don't know when the games are. It's not a set day. It's not every Thursday. It's not every Friday. Well, when are basketball games? When are TFC games? If you're a fan, they're not every single Thursday. They're not every single Tuesday. If you're a fan of the sport, especially in this day and age when there's technology right in front of our faces,
yeah,
you'll find a way to watch it. You'll find a way to go to a game. So I just don't buy that excuse. The game can be scheduled any day of the week and you'll find it. Whether or not you can go to that game is a different story. And we all have jobs, we have personal obligations. Geography plays a role. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Thoughts on the Saskatchewan Roughriders for the second year in a row, not playing Toronto at BMO Field. I'm not against this Halifax Classic game or whatever, but they should rotate it between teams every year. And like I said, as an Argo season ticket holder, I was hoping to see Saskatchewan on July 29th.
Yeah, I can respect that. I was actually a little surprised it was the Riders again. I do know that the league will want to have a team that has a fan base that travels well to fill that game. I thought it might be Winnipeg, and it would be a great job. It'd be a great thing to play the Bombers in that game, or even Hamilton. Hamilton fans travel well too. Obviously, the Riders will travel well, and you'll see a healthy contingent of melon heads in that building, wherever that building may be. I feel for the Rider fans in this area that don't get to see their team at BMO this year. I don't know why that is, but I guess the short answer is that it's guaranteed to help attendance wherever this neutral site game is. Obviously, the Argo fans, we travel pretty well too. We have a hardcore fan base. It's not huge, but we do travel fairly well. So I'm looking forward to being wherever it is.
Also, I'm a little disappointed too with the Argonauts are only playing Winnipeg once this year on September 29th in Winnipeg. And to me, we should, as an Argonaut fan or a CFL fan, we should be able to see at least every team in this league once in our home stadium. And I'm just a little disappointed. No Saskatchewan and no Winnipeg at BMO this year.
Yeah, it's tough in that regards. The pro for that schedule is that it does minimize costs. The league, pre-pandemic, or I should say during the pandemic, the league was looking at how do we reduce costs. So if you keep teams closer to home, you take away a road game every year, that's going to help a little bit. It's going to help the bottom line. And it does increase it does increase the intensity of rivals within your division. So those are pros. Cons, yes, it'd be nice to see every team. But maybe we'll get back to that. Maybe with some additional revenue streams, those problems will go away. But I understand what you're saying.
Hopefully we get that 10th CFL team they've been talking about since 1984, Halifax. Hopefully at some point they'll have ownership and be able to build a 25,000 seat stadium there, because I think long term that would be great for the CFL to have a 10-team league, 5 on the east, 5 on the west, and have a balanced schedule.
100%. Could you imagine a BC Atlantic Canada rivalry? You know, which coast is the best coast? Have them play every Labor Day. Then you could have Montreal play Ottawa on Labor Day weekend, as they should. There's so many advantages to having a 10th team. I don't know a CFL fan that isn't for this. At the commissioner's State of the League address during the Grey Cup Festival, he once again reiterated the league's commitment to having a team in Atlantic Canada. He actually mentioned that following the festival, the league would be in Halifax to again meet with the Atlantic Schooner Group. So, I think that they're doing everything they can. So I don't want to say it's a guarantee, but I do like our chances. The league looks like they're committed to this, and I also we do know that the Touchdown Atlanta game that was held this past summer was a huge success. It was a financial boon to the communities in the East Coast, and you've already got municipalities putting their hands up, hoping that there's one this summer. So keep your fingers crossed.
Speaking of that, I do have one question, and this is from Richie SW on Twitter. He wasn't able to come on live with us, but he wanted to ask you, hey, Chris, would you be able to ask Adam his thoughts on the strong representation of Argonaut fans from BC, like Elliot the Moose, and how he thinks we can infect the other provinces into following BC to basically grow the fan base across the country for the Argonauts?
Well, I would say those fans in BC just like winning. So, I mean, if you like winning, this is the team you want to get behind. It's a privilege to follow the Double Blue because, you don't have to wait too long to hoist that big shiny thing in the air. But in all seriousness, there's great CFL fans. This league has the best fans in sports as far as I'm concerned. No one is subjected to the kind of things that CFL fans have to handle or endure on a daily basis. So I respect whatever team fans want to follow. The Argonauts are the oldest professional sports team in North America. Sorry, Hamilton. So there's going to be fans from coast to coast. BC's not an anomaly. There's Argo fans in every province. Just because this team is so old, there's so much history to the Argonauts. Winning helps. But yeah, and Elliot, if you're listening, next round's on me, brother. This is gonna have something else in it next time I see you.
That's all right too, but I forgot I was gonna ask, but it is just going to be important to keep building this fan base. And I'm going to also tell you, Adam, I'm also involved with another league too, the National Lacrosse League. And I find so much similarities between that and the CFL. And it's such a great sport. And it's starting to grow now with ESPN, TSN, and they have such a loyal fan base. And I said to my one friend, Pat Gregor from Quebec, Canada, the National Lacrosse League reminds me so much of the CFL. And now that the CFL is in hibernation for the next 5-6 months, now I have the National Lacrosse League, and I just love that sport as much as I like the CFL, and I hope more people follow that league as well.
Yeah, I've been to a handful of games. I didn't grow up watching lacrosse or playing lacrosse. I respect the heck out of it. You got to be tough as nails to play that game, fast, durable. It's a violent sport, or at least it can be, but it's also one that involves a lot of skill. These players are the best at what they do, and having the league in the winter months does fill a void. It's wonderful from that standpoint. I know a lot of CFL fans that for years looked for something to do. We were all kind of hanging our heads in those doldrum months of January, February, and March, waiting for football to come back. Well, the NLL fills that void adequately. So there's fans all across this country who will pick the lacrosse right up after football season ends, so they can, they can get that emotion out, I guess. But yeah, I'll probably hit a game or two up this season too.
I already went to a Bandits game a couple weeks ago against Albany, and I loved it. It was 11-10 Albany. Exciting game. Saw some fights. The fans, I find, I'm going to say this to you, the Bandit fans I find are louder than the Sabre fans, but I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Is because the Bandits have really had a lot of success in their time in Buffalo, and the Sabres really the last 10, 11 years have struggled, but I think once the Sabres start having a winning team and people see that the franchise is on their way up, which I think they are, I think Buffalo, the Sabre fans will start being louder and having better numbers as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you want to, I can talk Sabres all night long. You know me, Chris. I bleed blue and gold. Yeah, your assessment is accurate. I mean, the Bandits had one of the greatest players of all time in John Tavares for years. That didn't hurt. Yeah, I'm not a lacrosse historian, so I can't give you facts and figures. But I having spent a lot of time in Buffalo, I do know how passionate that city is for the Bandits. It's a great sport for a hardworking town like Buffalo. It just makes sense.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this too. We'll get back to the Argonauts in a minute. As much as I don't like their red and black uniforms, they're not as bad as the Pistons' teal colors. I have to say the Sabres seem to play better in the black and the red uniforms, but I still like the blue and gold. I'm a traditionalist too, but if they're going to win in those black and red, well, so be it. Now, I like the white one with the logo too, but I don't like the white pants with the white jerseys. I think they should go with royal blue hockey pants with the white sweaters.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but it's just something different, right? I mean, when do you ever see white pants?
Yeah,
Now that we've seen it, we can say, okay, I'm
yeah,
good. But
definitely.
it was super cool. I mean, it's a clean look. You know, this is a discussion on a whole when it comes to uniforms. Do you like a uniform? Do you like top to bottom monochrome, or do you like like a contrasting look? Like, I'm a fan of the Argonauts, all Oxfords, with the Cambridge trim. A lot of fans like white with the Oxford pants or Oxford jersey with the white pants or what have you. I'm all for all one color. That may not be a popular opinion, but it's mine.
I made this suggestion a couple weeks ago on Twitter about an old black jersey. Keep the logo the same, add brown to the football, black jerseys with white trim, with black pants with white trim, and no gold, just black and white, And a lot of people said no. And I said, look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They went to black uniforms and they're sharp. But I don't think that's going to happen in Toronto, but I'm hoping they will come up with a great third uniform for this year being their 150th anniversary.
Yeah, a third would be pretty cool. I gotta disagree strongly there. I want no part of black with this football team.
Okay.
You've already got three bold colors. Well, two bold colors in a shade. You've got Oxford blue, Cambridge blue, and white. So if you're gonna have a white jersey and an Oxford color jersey, you can do something with Cambridge, and they have in the past. They look pretty sharp. You could also toy around with all three. It'll be interesting to see what they do. In the 90s, we've seen them throw in teal and silver and things like that, and it's worked for a bit. A lot of people like the Jason logo with the shield, but there are three colors that represent this football team. So third jersey, very interesting. I'm all for that. Let's see something unique. But I wouldn't fix something that doesn't need to be fixed.
Any chance on the Canada Day game against BC, they come out in red jerseys with white pants? Do you think there's any chance of that?
Zero. I think you know what? The Red Blacks play on the Thursday, I believe, on June 30th. I think you're more likely to see something like that happen in Ottawa, which obviously makes sense. They play in the nation's capital. So if I were up to me, I would schedule the Red Blacks on Canada Day every year, but I'm not the commissioner.
I'm going to say this as well, and I don't know if you agree with me, but my favorite Argonaut uniforms are from the 80s. I guess because that's when the team started getting successful again, going to the Grey Cup 82, 83, 87. And those are my favorite uniforms. And I'm hoping, I know they're doing the 150th anniversary, but I'm hoping they also do a game where they honor the 1983 team, because 40 years and is going on. And I hope they can honor the 83 team as well.
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be 40 years since that team. Can you fit it all in? Interestingly, maybe it's not a terrible idea. I would love to be behind the microphone to introduce members of that 83 squad. That'd be a thrill. So, I mean, something to look forward to. I know that obviously the team announced that on August the 6th, which I believe is versus Edmonton, there's going to be some special, 150th festivities, so to speak. So I can't wait to find out what they're. It's to talk about 150 years is incredible. You think about it, the longevity of this team, all of the things that this organization has been through over the years. It's quite a testament to the, just the strength and durability of the team and its fans, the loyalty of this fan base. What a thank you to be able to celebrate 150 years. Next year should be a lot of fun.
I'm glad to be a part of it as well, and I'm looking forward to this season as well. And I'm hoping the Argonauts continue their training camp at the University of Guelph, because it's only like a 7-minute drive for me. And the team, as you know, Adam, has been really good with my podcast and my media work as well. And same with Chris Bilnovich and Sean Bowen and Mike Hogan as well.
Yeah. There's champions on this team from top to bottom, and all those individuals that you just mentioned are deserving of the accolades as well. And, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of heavy lifting, and those folks are no exception. As far as Guelph goes, my understanding is that this team has 2 more training camps in Guelph. It's not on the schedule, but I believe the preseason game versus Ottawa on June the 1st should be in Guelph, but that's not confirmed. I have no official information on that.
One thing I would like to see in Guelph is to see more Argonaut gear, because there's hardly any places in Guelph where you can buy Argonaut hats or jerseys and that, and it would be nice to see a little more of the double blue going around in Guelph. And unfortunately, the Hamilton Tiger Cats now have the radio rights owned by CJOY 1460 in Guelph as well. So the Tiger Cats are trying to get their foot in the door in this market as well. But it would be nice to see some more double blue colors in the city.
Yeah, I mean, Guelph is, let's be honest. I mean, Guelph is not, it's not where the Toronto Argonauts play. We're the Toronto Argonauts,
Yes,
and we're a
yeah.
GTA based team. So I hear you. It'd be nice for them, for the team to bring along some merchandise to sell on game day, on preseason game day in Guelph. But obviously, we live in an age of where technology is changing everything, and it's no secret the team wants fans to buy their merch from Real Sports. So for those who can't buy merchandise, at an Argos game or in a store, then just jump online and you should be able to find everything that you need.
Yeah, the only thing with Real Sports, I like their stuff, and Nick Small and me talked about it. If you're a bigger person, unfortunately, they have limited sizes. So I'm hoping next year, not just for myself, but for other fans, they'll have a little more sizing for fans that are even a little bit bigger than the other fans.
Yeah, it can be a struggle. There is a limit to some of the size merchandise that's available. I would continue to put your hand up and let them know. Feedback helps. If they understand there's a market for plus size fans in this fan base, then you'll see some more merchandise. Alternatively, you can check in with my good buddy Mike Phoenix or Argo Fluffy as he's known amongst us, and he'll provide you with something real solid.
Yeah, because unfortunately, I had ordered stuff, my hat and my hoodie, from a store in Quebec that had what I liked, my sizing and the hat as well. So I'm hoping next year or in the future I'll be able to do it at BMO Field instead. Okay, Adam, are you okay for a couple more quick questions?
Of course, bring it on.
Okay, this one I should have asked you at the beginning, but what was it like being at the Grey Cup in Regina, Saskatchewan at Mosaic Stadium, and your overall experience before the game and during the game and after the game?
The whole Grey Cup festival was fantastic. Kudos to the city of Regina. They know how to throw a party. The real center, the real festival grounds where the festival was held in Regina was terrific. Everything was right there. It is endless convention rooms, plenty of space to hold these parties. It was well attended. Um, the parties themselves were organized and fun. The game, of course, was amazing. I mean, it was organized getting in and out of the building. I know that there's talk about attendance. The game was sold out, and really, that's all that matters. It was sold out. It was a pro Winnipeg crowd. Maybe not as much as people think at home, but it was definitely it was definitely pro Winnipeg. What I liked, Chris, is that of course the last Grey Cup we were in was 2017 in Ottawa. Weather obviously played a factor, and that may have played a role in in leveling the playing field, so to speak, when we played the Stampeders. What was nice is in this year is that despite the fact that it was cold, weather was largely a non-issue. It was a little windy, but nothing that was really earth-shattering. So for the Argos to overcome a Winnipeg team without having to worry about weather being a factor was big. But also as a fan sitting in the stands, it was very comfortable. The flyover. The halftime show was a hit. Mosaic Stadium, the second time I've been in that building, and it's just a gem. It's I'll say the second best stadium in the CFL after BMO Field, but I love it. I love watching a game there. The fans are awesome. Rough Rider fans are CFL fans, and I think they made it very warm and accommodating for all of us out of town. And there were some very special Rider fans who made it extra nice for us there that week. So you know who you are. Thanks for making our week one to remember.
I've been lucky also. I've had some guests on from Western Canada and Rod Peterson and Daniela as well. And I've never been to Western Canada. I've been to more of the United States than my own country. So I really need to get out to Western Canada at some point. And I've made a lot of connections out there. And it just seems like a really nice part of Canada to travel out to.
Well, I mean, sports or otherwise, get out there, see this country, hit each coast, go north if you can, spend some time on the prairies, see the mountains, go to Quebec, whatever, see some of on Northern Ontario. A lot of us are very proud to be Canadian. Being Canadian is an absolute privilege. It's the best country on the planet. But a lot of us also don't know what it means to celebrate this beautiful country, to see different pockets of Canadiana, different foods, different historical achievements, monuments, natural beauty. We've got it all. We've got mountains, we've got plains, we've got big cities, small towns, roadside attractions. So sports is a great vehicle to want to enjoy all that, but get out there, man. It'll change your life.
When I had Pete Costanza on my show too, I talked about this. I said I grew up in the '70s, loving the CFL, but the NFL as well, and I don't understand why some of this younger generation can't like both. Don't compare them. They're different countries, different rules, but it's still pro football. And a lot of guys in the States have a lot of respect that I've talked to on my podcast about the CFL and stuff like that. And we should be proud of the game as well as we are with hockey and lacrosse.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the age old argument, right? I mean, if you like football, then watch football. I grew up hearing about how Toronto was such a hockey town. Hockey is number one in this market.
Yep.
Okay, well, how did the Mississauga Ice Dogs do? They left. How did the St. Mike's Majors do? They left.
They left.
How did the Brampton Battalion do?
They left.
They left. And we saw AHL team after AHL team come through, the Roadrunners and so on, before MLSE finally put a stop to that. And they put money into the Marlies, and we know the Marlies aren't going anywhere because they're owned by MLSE. But don't get it twisted. When some people tell you that it's this or that, people, this is, in a lot of reasons, being a Toronto sports fan is a challenge, because it's sometimes about the perception of the game and not about the actual game that you're enjoying. It's a Leaf town. In terms of hockey, it's a Leaf town. It's not a hockey town. If it was a hockey town, you'd see people support the game of hockey left, right, and center. It's not that way. As a football fan, I'll watch any form of football that you put in front of me. It's arena football, it's NFL, it's CFL. I have an NFL team. I even worked for the Toronto Phantoms when they were here. The AFL is Toronto Phantoms. So if somebody tells you they're a football fan, then watch football. Otherwise, you're just an NFL fan, and you're there for hype. You're there for an Instagrammable moment. You're there just because you're following. You just want an atmosphere, and I get that. I respect that. If you just want to be there and be entertained, then cool. But if you have a true love of a sport, support it.
And I was able to get my nephew Tanner out to his first CFL game. He never been to BMO Field, never been to a CFL game. He likes the NFL, but he goes, "Oh, I can have a beer at the game. I can. This is good football." He was really impressed, not just because of the beer aspect of it, but I think he had a really good time, and I think I'm going to be able to get him to come back again next year. And I said, "Bring your friends." I said, "This is good football. It's professional football. It's exciting," and I think having 21,000 fans in that stadium kind of helped as well, because it created a more exciting environment.
Yeah, Toronto is the most unique sports market in this country. There's an issue of civic pride that this city lacks, and that may cause a stir, but I believe it to be true. These are things, again, that when you travel, you get to Calgary, you get to BC, you get to Montreal. The issue of civic pride isn't an issue, because they're happy to stand up for their city regardless of what you're talking about. It's always us versus the team that's there. In Toronto, it's very apathetic. It's a shame, but if there's something that's really worthwhile in Toronto, you almost need 10 friends to say, no, it's really fun, you should do this thing, instead of taking the initiative and just going. There's nothing better than an Argo home game. BMO is one of the best facilities in the CFL. It's exciting. It's loud. This team just won a Grey Cup. The talent is there. The value is there. Absolutely. It's the best value entertainment in the city. I could rant all night long about why I think is, people should be in the building, but that's not what they pay me for. So it's they pay me to entertain once people are taking their seats, but there's a conversation that needs to continue. How do we sell this amazing brand of football, to the masses in this city? I believe there's an opportunity. I believe there's space for us. There's talk about how many people in the city and how many things there are to do but because there are so many people in Toronto, there should be enough pie for us to have.
And also, I feel that there's enough. I think you guys could get more fans outside of the Greater Toronto area. To me, Guelph eventually one day will be part of the Greater Toronto area. A lot of people from that area are now moving out to Guelph. So to me, I think this is an area where we need to get more marketing done for the Argonauts. But one thing I would like to see, Adam, in the future there is a couple of statues of some of the greatest Argonaut players. Obviously, Mike Pinball Clements, Terry Greer, a number of guys. And I'd like to see a little bit of a Argo Hall of Fame area at BMO Field in the future. I'm hoping for.
I'm here for all that. Would love it. We'd love it. I think we're overdue for an Argo Hall of Fame. They do a great job with the banners that hang at BMO.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we would look. Can we paint the Saints blue? It's selfishly, there's a million things I'd love to do with that facility. I love it as it is, but I also love the fantasy of what it could be. And those are all great examples of, what we could do to BMO to really make it our house. Celebrate the past, embrace the future, um, all that stuff. Statues and tributes to players and um, you know, more double blue accents for sure.
That site is where I grew up loving the Argonauts at Old Exhibition Stadium. And it's funny, they have the bases from the old stadium there, but they
Yeah.
never did anything for the goalposts. And to me, I would have liked to seen goalpost markers for where the Argonauts played at Exhibition Stadium there. And I just, to me, that's where I grew up, and I was so happy when they moved to BMO in 2016. Never was a fan of the Rogers Center, and I'm glad they went back to this logo. And I'm now used to the football not being brown on it, and I think they've done a great job on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our logo pops. And I talked earlier about how grateful it is to be a fan of this team. We've always looked good. I can't think of a uniform really, with the exception of maybe, I want to say it was the 98 season, or was it the 95 season? It was a season where the instead of having a number on the front, it was the logo on the
Yeah,
front.
yeah,
You know, somebody way sharper than me has probably already got the answer in their head. Will Gertler. But yeah, aside from maybe that incarnate of a uniform, I've loved them all. We've always looked good. We've always looked like champions and played like champions. That helps. You look good, feel good, play good. As far as the Skydome is concerned, any venue can be a great venue when it's full.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
the dome was obviously a little bit cavernous. The lower bowl was a little bit of a challenge because it's very shallow. You know, 20th row at BMO is much different than 20th row at the dome. 20th row at the dome feels like you're a mile from the field. So there were obvious challenges, but when it was full, it was loud, it was fun. You if you were in the building like I was for the 100th Grey Cup in 2012, it was just a sea of Argonaut fans. Obviously there were a spattering of or a smattering of Stampeder fans, but by and large, that was our house, and it brought a tear to my eye. It was just amazing to see.
Absolutely. Hey, I've got three quick questions I wanted to ask you, Adam. This one I had to ask you. I'm going to reward this question.
Oh,
Um,
uh-oh.
okay, going forward in 2023, I'm going to reword it. In going forward in 2023, can you see the Argonauts having both McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and Chad Kelly back on the roster? And what were your thoughts of Chad Kelly's performance in the Grey Cup against Winnipeg in that fourth quarter, as McLeod Bethel Thompson had a thumb injury?
Yeah, I'll start with the last point. I thought Chad Kelly did everything he needed to. He wasn't asked to do a ton. He completed 3 passes, I believe. And that run to seal the first down and led eventually to a touchdown drive was darn near heroic. It's no secret that Chad Kelly is mobile. That's one of his strengths. So he did an admirable job. He helped us win a Grey Cup, and he's well deserving of calling himself a Grey Cup champion because he earned it. Um, as far as who's going to start for this team next year, excellent question. I haven't talked to either of them. I'm not close to either of them. I can only surmise of what's going to happen. It sounds like McLeod, at least right now, has his sights on playing again. He wants to continue to train. He's going to get back to football training very shortly. And in my opinion, you're the starting quarterback until you're not. So should he start next year? Yeah, he should. There's obviously a conversation about Chad Kelly and what you do with him. Chad has every right to want to be a starter in this league. Is he ready? I don't know. We've seen some flashes of brilliance from Chad. It would be nice to it'd be equally as nice to see him earn a spot as a starter as it would be to see number 4 come back and lead this team again. Both are nice problems to have. I don't know if Chad would want to be a number 2. He seems very hungry, and he's 28. He's got some good years left, but he's getting a little bit of a late start to this. So I understand if he's antsy and wants to be a QB1. So it's going to be very interesting. Going back to earlier in our chat, there's going to be a lot of turnover on this team. You can't bring everyone back. It's just not going to work that way. But that is a key position. So I'm a McLeod Bethel Thompson fan. Always have been. I like McLeod the man as much as I love McLeod the quarterback. I think he's the type of leader that wins championships. I think he is a character guy. We talked about character. He's great for the locker room. I know players respect the hell out of him, and you can tell that he commands respect on the football team or on the football field and off. A lot of those questions remain unanswered with regards to Chad Kelly. Those are questions I think a lot of fans are hoping to get some answers on in next spring. But we'll see. There's nothing like a CFL offseason, so grab your popcorn and buckle up.
Agree, and also too with the running backs too, with Olette and Andrew Harris as well. So the Argonauts, I think Pedmal Clements and the management staff's going to have a busy offseason, because obviously you want to try to keep this core together, but with salary cap implications, you can only do so much. And when you're a Grey Cup champion too, all the other teams are going to want to take players from your roster as well, and your coaching staff too.
They'll want your players. They'll
Yeah.
want your coaches.
Yeah.
They may even want the mascot. So those are nice problems to have when you're the champs. And this is one reason why it's really tough to repeat. I respect the Bombers. I admire that organization so well for having such a run. And even the Ticats, having not won a championship, but being in the big game so much recently, it's tough to do. So, and when you win, the demand for talent, coaches, players is that much higher. So it's going to be tough. But it comes down to our football operations staff, Pinball, Magri, Alex Russell. There's a lot of guys behind the scenes that get paid to give us an opportunity at number 19. I wouldn't bet against us.
And next year, I think Montreal's going to be even improved. I think they're going to be better next year. I think Ottawa is going to be a lot better as well as Hamilton. So I really think next year it's going to be a dogfight in the CFL East.
Yeah, it could be. Making predictions is a challenge. We all thought Ottawa was going to compete for a championship this year when they loaded up in the offseason, and they sank right to the bottom. They had some injuries, absolutely. But they ended up making a coaching change and things just went sideways. The Tiger Cats struggled mightily out of the gate. We all thought they were going to be in decent shape. And that didn't happen. So I'm always wary of making predictions. It's real tough. I know that, they're all players that have pride in their work. They're all going to want to compete as hard as they can. I hope that our team is ready, because they're going to have a target on their backs.
That's what I should have said that too. When you're the champion in any sport, you get a target on your back. And look at the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. They came out of nowhere to win the Super Bowl. And then next year, the following year, they were supposed to repeat and they struggled. And you just never know it. Every year is different.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every year is different. Yeah. I mean, it's if you look aside from 96, 97 in recent history, you have to go back to, the 40. Let me see. Let me consult my handy championship banner. Yeah, you have to go back to the 40s to find a team that won back-to-back championships. That's a long time. There's turnover issues. There's only 9 teams in this league, and anything can happen. So it's repeating could be even sweeter.
Absolutely, and this franchise is made up for that 31-year Grey Cup drought as well, and hopefully they can win number 19 next year. Just two last questions I wanted to ask you, Adam, before I let you go. But this one I wanted to ask you. Thoughts on your role this past season as a public address announcer for the University of Guelph Gryphons at Alumni Stadium? Obviously, the team did not have a great year. Hopefully, they'll rebound in 2023. And how did this come about?
Well, how did it come about? Just connecting with some of the people that run these football or run these athletic programs in various universities. It's one of those things you network and you never know what kind of opportunities will come your way. I work with McMaster University as well, and unfortunately, these aren't things that I can necessarily guarantee or look forward to every season because my priorities are with the Argonauts, and sometimes the schedule doesn't allow me to have the time to get behind the microphone in Hamilton or Guelph. So I'll have to wait to see what the U Sports schedule has to offer, in the new year. But as for how my experience was at Guelph, it's fantastic. It was my second year with the team, and they treat me very well. Alumni Stadium is a super fun place to call a game. But I think what really puts a smile on my face is that the Gryphons have such a hearty and healthy crowd. Win or lose, Gryphon fans love their football. Gryphon students love their football, and they pack the place. It's always a great atmosphere, great vibes. I hope I can find some time to head back to Guelph next fall.
I'm definitely hoping I'll be back with Griff Vision as well, because they're showing me behind the scenes of camera work. They actually had me do some graphics and replay as well. So I'm trying to learn both the radio side and the TV side of the industry as well. And I'm sort of like an underdog like the Argonauts too. And I'm trying to prove people wrong as well. So I can sort of relate to this franchise as well.
Yeah, there's something very romantic about the element of surprise, I guess. Lending an impression on people or teams or anybody when it's not expected. So I love what you do, Chris. I would say just keep going, smile on your face. Don't listen to the haters. You have nothing but to prove to anybody but yourself. So keep your head down, go to work, love what you do, remind yourself every day why you do it, and I don't think you can lose.
And maybe next year I'll have to have you on the Argo Bounce live audio show on Twitter Spaces with Nick Small, who's to me he's only 20. He's only 25 years old, but we work well together because I'm from the older generation of the Argonauts and he's from the younger generation, and I think we make a really good combination on the Argo Bounce live audio show.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Nick too. He's got a big, beautiful double blue heart, and it's a date. You just you let me know when to jump on, and I would love to spend some time with you boys.
Definitely. And this leads to my last question. What do you tell somebody who's watching this or listening that is on the fence of purchasing a season ticket or tickets for the Toronto Argonauts in 2023? We already answered the other question earlier.
What do I tell someone who's on the edge of purchasing, who's expecting bigger crowds?
Just basically that question, you can forget about the second part, but what do you tell about somebody who's just on the edge, sitting on the fence of purchasing a season ticket or tickets for the Argonauts in 2023? Why they should come out there?
Well, I would ask somebody if they're a leader or a follower. A leader makes their own decisions. A follower will just, wait apathetically, but that's a tongue-in-cheek approach. The reality is that there's no better value for your sports dollar or even at your entertainment dollar in the city of Toronto. So do you want to be part of something special? Do you want to be part of a rabid fan base, the oldest fan base in league history, the most successful fan base in league history? Do you want a great atmosphere in a fantastic building? Do you enjoy football? Do you have a family that enjoys the sport? All those things go into it. Do you like tailgating? Tailgating is really becoming a big thing for Argo fans. Kudos to those that run We Still Tailgate and promote our great tailgate it's rapidly becoming one of the best in the league and the most popular. Argonaut fans and CFL fans who visit us have been safe and responsible. They clean up after themselves. They provide a very comfortable and safe environment for all those who are there. And I think that's something that can be very attractive as well. So that's the approach that I would take.
And I got the website down here, argonauts.ca, or even give Arjun a call as well. He's a really good guy, and I'm hoping to have him on my podcast. And I'm looking forward to next season so badly, because I just really had a great time this year, and the team has been really good with me. And hopefully I can do some more live interviews with players at the University of Guelph or after a game. And like I said, I've had no bad experiences ever at BMO Field, and I love taking the GO train from Burlington into the stadium. It's just so easy and convenient and stress free, really.
Yeah, from a public transit perspective, it's really hard to beat. You hop on the GO train, it drops you off at the doorstep of the stadium. It's not uncommon to see some of our players, waiting for a train after the game home. So it's pretty neat in that regards. But yeah, having the schedule, the CFL made a great decision a few years back to release the schedule in December for the following season. It gives everyone a lot more time to plan their summer and their fall months, taking family vacations, going to those cottages, work obligations, whatever it is. Now all the teams have a shot at really selling the brand between now and kickoff next year. So and we're going to see a banner unfurled, an 18th Grey Cup championship banner. So I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So that alone should help put people in the seats, because who doesn't love a winner?
That's true. And like you said, for a long time, fans had to suffer with the franchise back in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s. And the last 40 years, it's been great. 10 Grey Cup appearances, 8 Grey Cup championships. And really, we shouldn't have lost the 87 Grey Cup to Edmonton, but Damon Allen made up for it. I had Damon on my podcast a year and a half ago. Great guy. He was drafted by the Detroit Tigers in 84. And I said, you made up for it by winning that Grey Cup in 2004. And I said that was one of the greatest Grey Cup games in 87. Edmonton won 38-36 on a last-second 49-yard kick by Jerry Kurick. And then that was their last disappointment back in 1987.
Yeah. Yeah, you bring up an interesting point, and more of a thought as well. Loved watching Damon Allen do his thing as a player. To play as long as he did, the way he did. He was so mobile, but still such a great arm and a great leader. To have the success he did, he's obviously spent a lot of time across this great league with several teams, and we have an 04, and he helped bring us a championship. I look back, and I had this conversation over the festival after the game, actually, after the Argos won. And, when I became a fan in 1991, it was Matt Dunnigan who was behind the helm. And then we were treated to Doug Flutie, and then Damon Allen, and then Ricky Ray, and then Ricky Ray. What do these players all have in common? They're Hall of Famers.
Yeah. And Holloway too.
Condredge Holloway. And then McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Yeah, I have to say it. I was one of his skeptics and critics, and he's proven me wrong. And I'm hoping I can write my story like his. And he's got such a great story, and hopefully he gets more attention in Toronto next year as well for what he's done.
McLeod Bethel Thompson. I don't know if he'll see this, but if we've seen the last of McLeod Bethel Thompson, I want to remind Argo fans that he deserves our respect. He is a Grey Cup champion forever. He was our quarterback. He was our leader, and he's a great man. And if that's the last we've seen of him, then this humble announcer wants to say thank you, McLeod. And I know McLeod, and he'll probably take that and he'll definitely shuffle it aside and thank his teammates, because he's not the type of person that wants to accept any accolades, and rightfully so. He's humble and hungry, and
and I respect it. But yeah, just a funny closing thought when you mentioned Damon Allen, because it's one of those, one of these things is not like the other. You've got a handful of Hall of Fame quarterbacks that have helped lead us to championships, and then you got McLeod Bethel Thompson, who's just been he's just a gritty, tough, durable leader that if he doesn't come back, I'm going to miss him, but he doesn't have to lose any sleep knowing that he's a champion forever.
Absolutely. And I was able to interview him a couple times, and he was really great with me. He answered my questions, very respectful, and he actually recognized me from social media. And I said, wow, and you know what, I'm going to wrap this up. What I love about this league is I have access to Hall of Fame guys, the media guys. I've got guys from the past. And as much as I love the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL, I can't get that kind of access like I do with the CFL. It's truly a fans league.
Yeah, it's no secret. This league, it's a humbling experience for a lot of players. Who come, and they're obviously the pay scales are vastly different than what they're used to receiving in the National Football League. It's a foreign country. The weather's different. Sometimes amenities are different. Just the experiences that the pros get is different than playing in the NFL. So it does humble them. That humility sometimes brings out the best in players. It also allows them to be a little more comfortable in their environment, knowing that they're not going to be scrutinized or bombarded with appearances, with autographs, with fans, walking down the street and recognizing them. They're allowed to live their lives in this country. We know that they're stars. They're stars to us, and they're very approachable. But they're allowed to be comfortable, wherever they play in Canada. And I think the CFL athlete is really unique in that regard, because it teaches them appreciation, right? You really to be able to get paid to play this game you love, to have another opportunity. There's a lot of players who are so thankful of that. You heard some of it in the celebration at Maple Leaf Square. Just players being grateful for the opportunity to play in Canada, and just some of them choose to live here, some of them don't. That's okay. But yeah, there's nothing like a CFL athlete, the best in the world.
And I'm hoping one day maybe I'll get an opportunity with the league or even the Argonauts, because I really have a passion for this league and the Argonauts, and it's my childhood team, and they've been really great with me and with the fans. And for the first time in 50 years, I'm a season ticket holder, and I'm really excited about it. And it's like a family down there. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody said it was Argo family, and I agree with it.
Yeah, the Argo family are just one of 9 individual CFL families. It's what makes this league great. I love our fans. I wouldn't trade them for anyone. There's not a tougher sports fan on the entire planet, and I'll repeat that for those that didn't hear it the first time. There's not a tougher sports fan on the entire planet. The Argo fan base gets more vitriol, more hate. We have to defend ourselves on a daily basis more than any fan base that I can think of on earth. And that in of itself it breeds appreciation, humility, gratitude. I'm so grateful for this team, Chris. I'm so grateful for the organization. I'm so grateful for the fact that we just get to watch Argos football year in and year out, and to be rewarded. Fans we don't really deserve anything. Fans in sports, we buy our ticket, we go, we get entertained. It's not that we deserve a championship, but when we get one, it's just so grateful, because there's a lot of teams with fan bases that may be more robust than ours that are starving for a championship. So just thankful.
And so am I as well. And I had a couple of TV opportunities from being a part of the Argo family and with CTV and City TV News. And I'm really appreciative as well. I'm going to wrap this up, Adam. I've kept you longer than 45. I apologize, but I just got to ask you this before we go. Quick thoughts, prediction on Buffalo Miami game Saturday. Are you going to Orchard Park, New York on Saturday night?
I am not. I will not be in the building. I wish I was. It's going to be an absolute barn burner. I think it's going to be real close. I don't like what I saw from the Dolphins the past two games. You know, they came up short on their California road swing. That could mean that they're going to have a lot to prove this Saturday, but they're going up against a tough Buffalo team. It's going to be cold, and it's, from what we're understanding, hella snowy, which isn't always weather that the Dolphins perform well in. So I'm going to be tuned in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Predictions. I'm going to say 21-16 Miami.
I wouldn't be shocked because I know the Bills have struggled in cold weather, and Josh Allen is a pocket. Well, he's not a pocket passer, but I think the elements can affect them as well. It did affect them last year when they lost to New England at home in Orchard Park. So any given Saturday, any given Sunday, any team can be. And for Miami, if they have any hopes of winning the division, they really need this game. If they lose this game, I think they'll be 3 games behind with 3 left. They'll pretty well be. The division will be out if they don't win this game.
Yeah, the division will be out of reach. There'll still be a wild card opportunity on the table, but yeah, if they want a shot at the title, they got to beat the Bills on Saturday.
Definitely.
Can't wait.
Hey, definitely, Adam. I'm gonna let you go, but hopefully again I can have you back on and we can just do one show about your Miami Dolphins and a little bit about the Sabres as well, and then we'll wait for maybe May and talk Argonaut football back in May when training camp starts.
Looking forward to, my friend. In the meantime, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the best to you and your family.
Same to you too. And where can people find you on social media again quickly?
Very easy. So at Twitter at Adam Gosse, and on Instagram and I haven't looked at this in a little while, at AF Gosse. Bingo.
Definitely. Hey, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and looking forward to seeing you in May when training camp hopefully is back in Guelph, and definitely we'll definitely keep in touch, and good luck to your Dolphins on Saturday night in Orchard Park, New York.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Adam. Go Argos, and we'll talk to you soon.
Argos.
Perfect. All right. Have a great night, Adam, and we'll keep in touch with you on social media.
Take care, my friend.
You too. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed season 5, episode 6 of Live with CDP Sports Talk, brought to you by Barry Collins Chevrolet, with my guest Adam Gosse, the public address announcer for the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts, and also this year with the University of Guelph Gryphons at Alumni Stadium as well. You guys can follow Adam on Twitter at Adam Gosse on Twitter. And also, guys, if you're interested, check out the website for the Grey Cup champion, Toronto Argonauts. Just type in argonauts.ca as well. And if you're looking for season tickets, I got myself a season ticket for possibly 9 home games next year for $184. So that was my Christmas present to myself. But I'm looking forward to sitting in section 115, row 10, seat 2 next season. And Adam does a great job as the PA voice at BMO Field, as well as Alumni Stadium for the Guelph Gryphons as well. Guys, just before we go, I just want to put some stuff on here. 1 second. You guys can check out my website at beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. And also, I'm going to do this right now before we wrap this up. I have so many graphics on here, but I'm going to put this on. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, is sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out barrycullen.com for their newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, or give them a call at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Palme sent you as well. And also you can pre-order now the all electric Silverado or the all electric Cadillac Lyric as well. And again, I want to say thank you to Mark Cullen, the president of Barry Cullen Dealership, for sponsoring this podcast show as well. Also, guys, you can follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. That's at Live with CDP on TikTok. I post a lot of content there as well. And as always, for my shows, Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded to iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Stitcher, Tuned In, and Podbean. And I want to say thank you to my audience watching this live on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you already haven't. And thank you to those watching on Facebook Live, on Twitter, on Twitch, and LinkedIn as well. And before we wrap this up, guys, I'm going to let you know my next podcast show is going to be this Friday. I'm just going to put this on here right now. And I'm looking forward to my guest. He's from Hartford, Connecticut. He's a news producer with Fox 61 in Hartford, Connecticut. Huge Washington sports fan. His name is Edward Ford. This will be his third appearance on Live with CDP Sports Talk. And Edward's going to come on and preview the Washington Commanders Giants Sunday night matchup at MetLife Stadium, and also talk about Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals, and maybe some Washington National Baseball, Washington National League's Washington Nationals baseball as well. So this Friday, December 16th at 2 p.m. with Edward Ford. It originally was scheduled for 5, but it is now 2 o'clock Friday for season 5, episode 7 of Live with CDP podcast as well. And that's about it, guys. Live with CDP Sports Talk, again, is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. I want to say thank you to everybody for watching this live. And if you guys can give me about 10, 15 minutes, I will have the audio version downloaded to my 14 platforms as well. Before we go, guys, I want to say thank you to my friend Steve. Steve does some artwork and graphic work for me, but I want to say thank you to Steve for this, my new business card. Again, this is my new business card, and I thought he did a great job, and I wanted to give Steve, he's from the New York area, some credit for doing this as well. And it's just a professional look, and I really appreciate him doing this as well for me. So shout out to Steve, and I hope to build my audience in 2023. And again, I want to say thank you to Adam Gosse, the Argonaut and Guelph Griffin PA announcer, for coming on here. And I hope everybody has a great night, and hopefully you guys can tune in for season 5, episode 7, Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern with Edward Ford from Fox 61 News in Hartford, Connecticut. And we're going to talk Washington sports as well. So that's about it, guys. I hope everybody has a great night. And again, thank you for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports Talk, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Good night, everybody.